Welcome to another episode of Make Me Good at Golf, a golf podcast where three mates get together in an effort to improve their golf game. Are we making progress? Well, stay tuned over the next few months and we will find out. Joining me in this quest, Mr. 71 himself, Damien Fleming.
Anthony Lehman.
And Peter Hellier.
Oh, yeah. Anthony, Damien. Good to be here.
And
Thanks,
what's
Peter.
the name of your kid's book? Mr. Galileo.
Galileo Horse.
Galileo Horse.
Sorry, Detective Galileo.
Did
He doesn't even know.
Does your kid have a book?
I'm a children's author.
You said
Flam.
his kid's book.
Yeah, he does.
Which
I won't,
kid
go
is
through
it?
all, I won't go through all of them.
My son read that book while we were on holidays overseas. And he loved it.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting this, but thank you very much.
Are you showing to vision of his review of the book?
I will get one if you...
I have
if
worked out, there's a new one coming out in November called The Dog Father, and worked in a little golf illustration
Oh,
and
very
little
nice.
reference for us.
What about the golf father?
Damn it.
Nah.
Where were you
That's
3
my
months
book.
ago? Where were you 3 months ago?
That's my book.
All right, I can feel people switching off. Let's get stuck into it. And my name is Lehmo. Now, I was lucky enough to play Royal Melbourne last week. I got a call up at the last minute.
Yep.
What course?
West.
Yep.
And I played with a bloke I've known for a while, who we have a mutual friend, Tommy Little, with, Panna, who's one of Tommy's best mates. But another mate of Tommy's, who I met at Tommy's 40th,
He's got a lot of mates.
was also playing, and he has got a great golf story.
Ooh.
He was a professional caddy for many years, and he joins us now. Johnny Anderson, welcome to the pod.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for having us.
Now, before we get to your caddying life, that we played together last Friday for now you've never seen me play before. What are your takeaways from my game at Royal Melbourne?
Well, I reckon you've got it. I reckon, definitely below the handicap of where you are at the moment. There's no reason why in 12 months you can't be touching or pushing single figures.
Ooh.
But I reckon it just comes back to just playing a bit, shutting out the short game, and you'll be away.
That's your goal, isn't it? 10.
Yeah.
You went 10. You might as well have gone 9.
I said 10. Someone was mocking me last night about this. They said, why don't you just go 9? Don't you want to be single figures? It was actually bloody Sam Pang. I saw him on the weekend. He goes, why 10? Why isn't it 9? Shouldn't you just be single figures?
That didn't occur to me, actually. Yeah.
It does now, though, doesn't it? So, you might as well go
So
the whole way.
nine is your actual.
Hey, Johnny, did Lehmo get one off the tee? Because I have noticed when he does middle it, it goes a long way.
Exactly. He was striping. His best shots are very, very good. He's just got to sort of take out the misses and the big misses. But I reckon with more play, he'll be well on his way to close to single figures.
Yeah, I'll tell you a difference with Royal Melbourne is, Johnny, Pete and I played freeway. But public course, lovely public course.
Where are they
Similar
ranked?
courses.
Where are they ranked, Johnny? Where's Royal Melbourne compared to Freeway?
This is my metric for comparing the two courses, the number of times you hear people yell 4 during the day. Now at Freeway, it's just a constant backdrop. You're just constantly hearing 4, 4, 4, 4, whereas at Royal Melbourne, you maybe hear it once or twice for an entire round.
Sometimes you don't hear 4 at freeway golf, but you hear you hear the ball whizzing past your head.
Exactly. So, Johnny, what do you reckon? Having seen me play around, what are the areas that stood out to you as where I need a bit of improvement?
Just a bit. I reckon I counted 5 3-putts for you on the round.
Yes.
I missed out on the last couple holes. You raise that, you're probably there's 5 6 shots around. You're probably down to there's half your handicapping in the goal, so you're down to sort of 17 18, and then just short game, just a bit of sand play, chipping and putting, and your long game is there. So the long game will naturally correct itself over time if you keep playing.
Johnny, what about the mental side? You being a caddy, it's a lot, I imagine, and please tell us, there's a lot of that, the psychology of golf, keeping the golfer in the right frame of mind. Mentally, emotionally, how was Lehmo?
Yeah, Lehmo was very good. Decision making, he was laying up on holes and he was thinking strategically through it. So I was pretty impressed by it. I think the only thing he's just got to focus on is just not talking when he's sort of lining up the shots. He
does. He loves a chat on the tee box. He loves a chat on the tee box. There are times when these people, you can see them coming up behind us, and we're like, "Oh, he's still telling a story."
Yeah, that is one of my weaknesses.
And when people are putting, you don't chat, do you? Putting.
I'd say one of the great things about playing with you, Johnny, is that because you're a caddy for so long, you have great instincts around the course. So there's moments where I'm thinking, well, I've got no hope here. I'm going to have to take a drop and lose a shot. And he's like, no. You could play out through here. And then you've got to look at the hole there. Or another one that I really remember was when you're putting, and I was getting my line right on a that had, a lot of bias on the green, right?
Slope.
And he said, and Johnny goes, think about how hard you hit the ball as well. Because often if you think about the slope, you're not thinking about how hard to hit the ball. You've got to think about both things at the same time. So there's lots of those little things that were very handy.
You need work on your mental side of the game. You are overthinking it, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny, so give us a bit of background here give us a summary of your caddying career.
Yeah, so I sort of fell into it accidentally. I was sort of 17, 18, playing a fair bit of golf, so playing about a handicap +1. And when the Heineken Classic used to come to Melbourne, I used to pick up the bag for a guy called Constantino Rocca. Constantino Rocca lost the British Open to John Daly at St Andrews back in whenever it was. And then he used to, whenever he used to come to Australia, I used to call him up on January 1 and ask to pick up the bag for him. And sort of long story short, after 4 years, I was on my way to London and sort of said, Constantino, that's it. I'm never going to caddy for you again, but thanks very much. And he offered me a job to caddy 3 weeks over on the European Tour for one of his friends, who at the time I didn't know was a female professional golfer. And what transpired was I ended up picking up the bag for this Italian girl who ended up finishing sort of 2nd, 4th and 3rd in the Spanish, Swiss and Italian Opens. And all of a sudden, my job in London got pushed to the back, and I was caddying full time on the Ladies European Tour at 21 years of age.
Well, there you go. So when you are, okay, so let's go to one of those, the Italian Open, say. Talk us through the week. What happens? When do you arrive? How long does your player hit balls for? How long do you spend on the course? How do you suss all the distances out? How does the week roll out?
Yeah, but so basically your Monday's your travel day. So whether or not you're playing if you're playing on the US tour, your travel day is a bit more important, traveling between Europe and America. But Monday's generally your travel day, and as a caddy, you probably try and get out to the course and sort of map out the course on that Monday afternoon. So you might spend anywhere.
Does that mean you just walk the course?
Yeah, so you get what's the yardage book, and you basically go out and walk the course and check all the distances that are coming through on the yardage book, and all basically double checking the work that's already been done for you.
But when you say like check the distances, there's distances everywhere. Like everything's a distance. So are you got to going? Okay, these bunkers. Are you using marks on the ground as far as bunkers or water and taking the distances from there?
Yeah, so you basically got in this course guide, you've got a map of every hole, and then you're using that with the measurements from the Bushnell. The only thing that's now really changed is that they're allowing all the distance measuring devices in the tournaments, which saves a fair bit of time. Oh. But sort of basically that yardage book is the key because it's got all your green measurements, all of your yardage measurements for carrying bunkers, for green approaches and so forth.
And how do caddies think about the Pathfinders?
The Pathfinder, I was a big fan of them. I think they're great. You probably have to sort of ask the guys out there now what they think of it. It takes their job a little bit, but my view as the caddy is more around sort of the decision making and how you can sort of get the best out of that through the week for the player, basically.
And you suss out all your yardages on the first day, and then when you're playing, so you do a practice round on the Wednesday.
Yeah, so Monday you're done. Tuesday you'll have a practice round, so you'll probably play sort of 9 or 18 holes, depending on if you've been to the course before with the player.
Yeah.
Wednesday turns into the pro-am, so that can be a pretty lengthy day. And you play the course again. You'll have everything mapped out. You'll be ready to go, and then you turn up to Thursday on your first day of the tournament. So everything should be locked away. historically, you usually found that there'd probably be one or two mistakes in the yardage book that you'd want to have picked up by the time the tournament starts on Thursday. But you're sort of ready to go on Thursday morning come the first tee time.
Do you enjoy the pro-ams, or are they a bit of a... Because we would love to play in a pro-am one day. That's one of the dreams. But are they a bit of a pain in the ass, or, all of a sudden you got to hang out with, a Hallier or a Lehmo?
It's exactly what they are. They tend to be a bit more of a pain in the ass, but at the same time, you do meet some cracking people through them. And, whether it be in America on the US tours, they tend to be a lot more sort of celebrity-focused. In Europe, and which makes it a lot more fun. In the US, in Europe, it's a bit more sort of business focused and sponsors, so it's probably not as interesting, the pro-am. So it really just depends on who you get and how much fun you can have.
Do you think there should be a handicap limit on the pro-am? Should you have to be 18 or lower to actually play in any pro-am?
No, I think Leo and I sort of touched on this on the weekend, and it doesn't really matter how bad you play or how high your handicap is. As long as you keep up and you play in line with the speed of play, then I reckon you're fine.
Thanks, mate. 18, beautiful. Well answered.
I think I'm a long way away from playing anyway. But hey, Johnny, Lehmo mentioned at the start you're a friend of our mate Tommy Little. When Tommy gives you a call and says, "Are you on the bags this weekend?" You have to be very clear about what he means.
Very, very precisely. Very precise.
Well, I have no idea what Pete's talking about there. Hey, back to professional golf, Johnny. Hey, when you're playing a tournament, right? How often would you have a conversation with your player about club selection? Would that happen once or twice a round or once or twice a hole?
Yeah, good question. So I think there's a big difference between the men and the women, and the women would, as a whole, and I've got to probably be careful how I sort of say this, but you'd generally be making a lot more decisions working on the ladies tour than you would be the men's tour. So, for example, the ladies tour, you could be making, a couple of decisions a hole, even sort of, 10 decisions a hole, depending on, different clubs, where you're aiming and so forth, and the speed and all of that. Whereas the men's tour, you can literally caddy the whole round and you might only be asked your opinion 3 or 4 times, but you've got to be spot on, quick, and know exactly what you're talking about. So it really depends on the player, but I found there was a big difference between the men's game and the women's game.
Is that largely a distance thing?
No, I think it's really just how the decision making sort of comes about. The men seem to be a lot more direct with their decision making, whereas the women sort of tend to take their time doing it, which can leak into other parts of their life and so forth. But again,
Johnny,
got to be careful how I say it. I'm with my wife.
Really tiptoeing around this one.
There's some eggshells on the floor all of a sudden.
Johnny, you've just 4-putted. As an interview.
I'm worried my wife's going to listen.
Hey, mate, what's your biggest stuff up then? Where you're going, it's a 7, you're going, mate, it's an 8, and then they hit the 8 and they're short, something like that. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I think that the key really is around the decision making. You're always going to make mistakes, but the most important thing is, as long as you're committed to the decision and your player is committed to the decision, regardless of outcome, the outcome's sort of the outcome. I guess one big mistake I made, we're at the tour school in California, and it's 6 rounds to get to qualify for the ladies LPGA tour, and it was the last round, and the player I was caddying for, Tanya from Spain, she was inside the cut line by 1, and we're walking down the 9th hole, and everything's yards to meters, so I had to convert everything from yards to meters, and I didn't convert on this 9th hole, and she flew the green by sort of about 15 metres, and she just looked at me and didn't say anything, and I've never felt more guilty in my life. Anyway, I didn't say anything. I just said, it owned up, said it was I failed to calculate into meters, and she came back and birdied the next 2 and qualified for the LPGA, and it was happy day. So no problem whatsoever.
All right. So you didn't get sacked. No,
I didn't get sacked. She qualified, but I reckon if she didn't qualify, I would have been swimming my way back to Australia from Los Angeles.
Was she able to chip back onto the green from the car park?
Yeah, no, it's hard from the water. Hard chipping from the water, Pete. Hard chipping from the water.
Yeah, that is true. And how much of your time, Johnny, is spent being a psychologist as well? Because I imagine when someone, when they stuff a shot up, you need to go and say, hey, it's all right, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of just keeping him on the path. I think as long as if the player starts losing it, depending on the strength of the player, if the player starts losing it, just keeping him back on the rails. My view was a caddy's only as good as the player, so you just got to make sure the player stays on path and continues on their merry way. As soon as they start getting off that, you just got to find a way of getting them back on track.
And physically, I think it's one of those things that most people who, if you're just watching, briefly golf, you wouldn't know how physically taxing caddying would be. You're carrying the bag, and these are heavy bags. These have so many clubs and all kinds of stuff in them. So how physically taxing is it?
It wasn't too bad. You basically end up being pretty fit from it. But I mean, like some of the caddies over in Europe, the UK guys, they'll carry the big bag, and then they'll go and have 20 beers and still walk around, and they'll still be very, very unhealthy. So I think if those boys could do it, it wasn't really that hard. It's just sort of a bit of match fitness for you. But
yeah, right. Okay.
I have a theory
Here we go.
about golfers, Johnny. I'm going to see what you think about this. You can tell how good a golfer is, or good a woman or bloke, a golfer is by the number of caddies they've had in their career.
Yes.
So Jason Day, I believe, has had 2 caddies his whole career.
Oh, wow.
Whereas Robert Allenby's had about 48. And that's not even an exaggeration. That's a research.
We will be having the
number.
50th on the show.
Yes.
In about a month's time.
What are your thoughts on that theory, Johnny?
well, I reckon generally the guys or girls who've got sort of the consistent caddy tend to be pretty calm emotionally, but. The guys who have a lot of caddies, they tend to be a bit more up and down emotionally. So,
do we know who was caddying for Robert Allenby in Hawaii?
Before or after the incident?
During.
But we do. I think we can get him on the line for you guys, actually.
Oh, okay.
All right.
This is good.
There's a podcast is going to be Robert Allenby's caddies, and there's 48 episodes.
There's a great story. I'll just sidetrack this for a moment, where a caddy quit mid-round.
Oh, wow.
With Robert Allenby, said, "That's it. I've had enough. Go and get stuffed," and he just walks off. So Allenby got someone out of the crowd,
Like Happy Gilmore.
to carry the bag for him, right? And anyway, 5 minutes later, the guy returns, the caddy, and Allenby says, knew you'd be back, come crawling back to me. And the guy goes, left my car keys in the bag. Unzips, pulls his car keys out and walks off.
Out of there.
Wow.
Very good.
So, Johnny, and what about on the golfing circuit? Is there a mad Monday after a big tournament finishes on a Sunday?
Mad Friday, mad Saturday, mad Sunday tends to be, and
right.
It's generally speaking on the I was 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 when I was doing it, and you're in a new country every week, and it was a time to go out and sightsee all the best places at night, whether it be you're in Finland or Spain or what have you. So it was pretty good. The players themselves would probably only come out on the Sunday, but it's probably best not to mix business with pleasure most of the time. So you tend to keep things separate.
Hey, Johnny, I think it's remarkable. Like, you just decided you wanted to caddy and you developed that way. Have they gone that far to have a caddy school or something like that, or is it still pretty random?
It's still pretty random. I mean, there are some caddy schools in the US, and they have sort of tried to sort of kickstart it. But it's quite interesting because caddies, you can have guys who haven't really played that much golf and be really good caddies, and you can have, Rory McIlroy's caddy, for example, is one of his best mates from Hollywood Golf Club, and he's an outstanding player. And there's no way if you put him through caddy school, he'd be any better than where he is now.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting how they sort of all get to where the caddies sort of come from. it's sort of a relationship thing. You can be sitting in a car park and all of a sudden you're caddying for Constantino Rocca sort of thing. So it's very, very bizarre how it all sort of.
Don't you find that bizarre that there's no training or school to go through? So
it is. So what separates a good caddy from an average caddy?
Probably the player, to be honest. I reckon. I just think that.
Talk yourself up, Johnny.
No. I think after seeing it all, I just reckon that you can. The most important thing as a caddy is just to sort of keep up, clean up, shut up, and as long as you're there doing the fundamental stuff, the players generally take care of themselves, and then through that time period, there's certainly value adds that you can add. Whether it be distances, yardages, decision making to make cuts. So forth, that where the player really gets the bang for the buck. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing the fundamentals right, you can get fired pretty quickly, pretty easily.
So what about Tiger's caddy, the Kiwi dude? I've just had a mental blank.
Williams.
Stevie Williams.
Yeah, Steve Williams. So at one point was New Zealand's highest paid athlete.
Yeah.
True story, from being Tiger's caddy.
He might still be.
He could still be. So with a guy like him, is it 80% luck, 20% skill that he just ended up with Tiger?
Yeah, so I think before Tiger, he was caddying for Ray Floyd. So he was already sort of caddying for world number one. He was up there. I mean, I think, again, it's the introduction. So he's good caddy. He does all the right things, the basics right. And then I think there is a little bit of right place, right time.
He actually started with Greg Norman. So he went from Norman to Ray Floyd to that. And what about male and female? Who are the best players that you've seen as a caddy?
I reckon one of the best, and we've sort of not talked about athletes, Lorena Ochoa. She retired when she was about 24, world number one, won all through America, and basically just had enough. She'd also, I think, married the owner of Aero Mexico, the airline out of Mexico, but which probably had something to do with it.
And
but
did she hit it? Did she hit it longer than other females, or was it a short game? What was it about her?
It was the complete package. She was sneaky long. She was only probably about 5'8" or 5'9", but bombed, and was just sneaky long, putted chip so well, and was just an incredibly sort of kind and good person. So I'd probably say someone like that. In terms of the men's game, any of those guys like Leash, Jay Stay, all of the Aussie guys, I tend to sort of have a bit of a favourism to. I think they're all fantastic. But it's just a fine line between, being at the top end of the amateur or starting professional and then sort of really going on to, top 20, top 30 in the world. It's just such a fine line for some of those guys.
It really is. Hey, Johnny, we better let you go, but we do love the insights you've brought to us from the caddying world. But before we let you go, tell the fellas the story you shared with me on the course about the first time you met Greg Norman when you were just 6 years of age.
We love Greg Norman stories.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Greg Norman all my life, and I was 6 years of age down at the Masters at Huntingdale, and can't remember which hole it was, but it was a par five, and back then hardly anyone hit the par fives in two. And anyway, my old man took me down to watch Greg Norman, and Norman starts walking sideways across the fairway, waiting to hit this second shot into the par five, and the crowd starts cheering because they know that he's going to be, going for this green in two that no one's ever done before. And he walks over to the gallery, and I'm sitting there, no idea who this bloke is, eating my chips, and he comes down and he looks at me and he winks and he goes, "Can I have a chip?" And he dips down and he takes about half a dozen chips out of my bucket of chips, and I start bawling, absolutely crying. And I think, who is this prick that everyone's just applauding, coming and taking my hot chips? Anyway, he luckily for everyone that day, he kept his trophy in his cabinet, and I think he hit the par five in two. So he's Greg Norman is a beast of a human being, that's for sure.
The great white thief. You thought as a 6-year-old?
Exactly.
Well, he kept his trophy in his cabinet. I wasn't sure if that was a euphemism or not. I was just trying to figure that out.
That's why I breezed over that.
He was. I'm glad to clear that up.
If it is a euphemism, I don't think Shag's trophy spent much time in his cabinet.
Not judging by the photo shoot.
Very good.
I think Johnny may have also seen the shark in a change room once, but we won't go into the details on that one. Johnny,
Wowee.
it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your insights,
Yes.
and hopefully we all get to have a hit together at
that'd be
some
great.
point in the future.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Look forward to it, gents. Well done, and keep the good work coming.
So there you have it, single figures for me, according to an actual expert.
What did he say within 12 months?
Yep.
It seems ambitious.
As long
Based
as
on what I saw at Freeway Golf, I mean, you had a big week last week. You basically went from Freeway Golf into
Sandhurst.
into Royal Melbourne.
Yes.
Royal Melbourne. So a massive week, but he was great. He's growing up. You always just thought the caddies just carried the bags, and then you kind of realise, they're actually advising on shots and distances. And the more you learn about it, the more fascinating.
But no training, no school.
That's fascinating, isn't it?
You would have thought there was a caddy school everywhere and this is what you could do, blah, blah, blah.
Isn't
but it's
it?
a bit of
Might be an
skill.
opportunity there for Johnny, maybe.
What about for us three?
carry the
We're going to be caddying
If
the
Constantino
Australian Open.
If Constantino Rocca comes back to Australia,
Yeah.
I'm sending him a message. But what a great thing that he just messages him and Rocca goes, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can carry my bags.
Yeah, why not?
No worries.
Why not?
Yeah.
But no, excellent stuff. Well done. That was a good get, Lehmo. Good.
So, yeah, very interesting. We'll try and get a few more caddies on over the journey. I think it's fascinating to get
Yeah.
that little behind-the-scenes look into
Well,
it.
when we get more on the course and we have a guest, well, why can't we have a caddy each for the odd episode?
Do you reckon, what about Scotty Scheffler's?
How much it would help?
Scotty Scheffler's caddy. Do you reckon he's contributing anything?
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Did he change caddies recently?
I don't know.
No, maybe. Anyway, probably should have had that information before I asked.
No, just throw it.
Sorry, I'll put you under the bus.
No, but isn't that Lehmo,
someone will
Bill?
let us know.
Yeah.
Hang on, it's coming up on the screen here. Did Scotty Scheffler change caddy? No. Okay. Is it the answer?
Someone did though. Yeah.
Somebody did. It's a good story.
I think it was Robert Allenby. Have you heard of him?
I think he may have. Scotty Scheffler went back to someone he'd had before for the Tour Championship. Hey, great day, but we will get more caddies on over the journey. So there it is. I'm headed for single figures, guys.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. I'm headed the mid-20s.
All right.
But caddies can make me.
Good at.
Golf.
Oh.
Hey!
Pretty good.